Let's get kinky.
All right. Today's episode is all about pet play, specifically pup play. But before we dive in with today's guest, I want to talk to my friend, Coco Peru. She's a hilarious drag queen who needs no introduction, and she's a curious advocate for kink. The first time I met her, we chatted about kink and the series, and pup play came up. And I thought, oh my gosh, we've got to talk with her before we dive into the pup episode. So let's give her a call. Hello, Coco Peru.
Hello, Alex. May I just say, I love your hair today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Looks
I worked very hard on the curls are chaotic, and so you gotta work on letting them do their own thing while also trying to control them just a little bit.
That sounds kinky. I want the viewers to know that the 59-year-old drag queen was ready to go, and Alex, how many minutes are we at? 14. Took Alex at least 13 minutes to set up. Just so.
You can wrap me out. It's all right. Doing an episode on pup play today, and I'm super excited about it. I have a little bit of experience in it, but not a lot. And I know you're very Kink Curious sexual.
Well,
so.
I meet so many people, drag, and then at my shows, I've actually had puppies show up. And I've done some bear events, and there's always puppies there, and they have their own room, within the hotels. They set up a whole puppy room, and I just think it's delightful. And I always find the puppies super, super sweet and super, super cute. And I just have this reaction to them in the sort of same way that I would react to a puppy. I want to take care of this little cute thing. And yet I don't totally understand it. And even last night I was reading a little bit about it, and I was just kind of fascinated by, even more fascinated the more I dove into it.
I want to start with just pointing out, look, you can be non-judgmental and curious without understanding.
Well, totally. I mean, I think that goes for drag as well. I understand that some people might not understand why I had the calling to dress up and drag, and I don't need for them to understand. But what I like for them to do is be curious or interested, or just leave me the fuck alone if it's not your thing. But
exactly.
Yeah. And I discovered through doing drag, there was a whole side of kink that I didn't even know existed with drag. That kind of opened my eyes to things are always, there's different levels to everything. And it just seemed to me that all of a sudden puppies appeared out of nowhere. Do you know where this started?
I don't know where it started, but I do know that it's been around for a bit. I think it's just hit the mainstream more in the last few years.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, social media does. It gives everything a little bit more visibility, which is great.
Absolutely.
But then it also opens everyone up to a lot more criticism.
Well, yeah. But I think it's great that people can find a community through their internet and maybe not even know that something existed that they were interested in, but discover it. Because I think that's a big part of puppy play.
What is?
Community.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, besides the sexual side of it and the kink side of it and the master sort of puppy dynamic, or maybe I shouldn't say master. What would you say?
So I've heard handler.
Handler.
Yeah.
I like that. I handle.
Yeah.
So between the puppy and the handler, there's those dynamics. But I also think, when they step outside into a larger community, a large part of what's appealing is a sense of community.
Totally.
And what I was fascinated by was that people can take on this role as an escape from the pressures of the world. Mm-hmm. And I think the world has gotten more pressurized. And maybe that's why there's more people discovering that kink is a wonderful way to release some of that and to give your brain a break from your reality and take it somewhere else. And I think that's why I responded to the puppy world, was because the people that I met just seemed so happy, and they took me to another place. In the same way that I think I've tried to do with drag, is to to take people outside of their box. And that's kind of where I've always said magic happens. First time I met a puppy was at one of my shows, and his handler came up with him on the chain, and he sat at my on my side, and I just thought it was so cute. And and there was this other part of my brain like, what the fuck is happening? But there was this, but the bigger part of my brain was like, I'm so curious about this. And it was so friendly.
The first time I ever played with a pup, I thought it was just about escape. But what he was telling me is that it's also about freedom to let a side of himself that he normally hides or doesn't allow to be seen.
Right.
The freedom to let that part out.
That's like what drag was for me as well. I mean, it's a form of escape, but at the same time, it put me in touch, I think, with a deeper part of myself that needed to have some voice or a truth that needed to be addressed. It did have that balance for me of escape, but also being deeply personal. Yeah.
What did you find your drag persona got to do for you as like a whole complete human?
It gave me back my voice that had been robbed from me because of the bullying. And it allowed me to say things that I was just too intimidated to say as myself. And it also helped me balance out my male and female energies. And so I had always been made fun of for being too girly. And when I sort of addressed that and said, well, you think I'm girly? I'm really going to celebrate it now. As soon as I did that, I think the attributes that we associate with being male all of a sudden balanced out. And I think that's another reason why I was always drawn to puppy or people who were putting on a costume.
Yeah.
Leather guys and whatnot, putting on some sort of uniform that is allowing them the space to create and to step outside of the box. And I really do believe that it is healing.
Yeah.
I do believe that is the beauty of being in our community, is that we've allowed many of us anyway, have allowed ourselves the space to do that. And I do believe that the people who are so angry and so hateful towards us are really jealous. They're not allowing themselves, none of this is threatening. This is, a puppy play. There's none of that that's threatening. It's just meant to be fun and a joyous thing for people.
Yeah. So I want to know from you, what are some of the curiosities you maybe still have about pup play? Because I want to make sure that Mark answers those today.
I'd love to know, is there a sexual thing between puppy?
Uh-huh.
Or is it just puppy handler? Is it a group of puppies?
Uh-huh.
Like, what are the dynamics? And also the times that I've played with guys in drag, a lot of it for me was I was made fun of for being a girl. And I was made fun of by the boys that I was attracted to, which really screwed with me. And suddenly, I could be out in the world dressed as Coco, and all of these guys that reminded me of the boys that I was attracted to growing up were suddenly now, giving me their phone numbers or, telling me what they wanted to do. And that had a tremendous effect of feeling power over them. And that was very healing for me.
I bet.
Yeah, so I guess that would be my other question. What is the healing part of it that's coming through for them as well? I met two guys that were into they dressed up as mermaids. But of course, me being the curious queen that I am, I had to swim over to these guys and be like, what's happening here? I need explanations. And they were so wonderful to want to talk to me about it. And I was fascinated that part of the kink for them was breath control.
Ooh.
I would have never got that from that part of the sex thing was breath control. I would like some real specifics as to what is some of those turn-ons as well. Yeah. Beyond just community and being really cute, I would like to know some of the the kink side. Like, what are some of those real things that turn them on about it as well?
Yeah. I love getting in people's heads and knowing what's going on up here.
Oh,
What is
I
turning
need
you on?
answers. I'm a bit nosy that way, but what I do find is that it comes from a loving place of wanting to understand people, and I think being a storyteller, I think that is part of the human experience, and what is also part of what is healing for all of us. And so I think kink needs to come out of the closet, and people need to share their stories more, because it's not just, people like you and I that need the healing. It's really about, it goes beyond even just our community.
Before we go, any final thoughts on kink or what people can do to explore their kinky side a little bit more?
Let yourself go. You only have one life to live. It seems like yesterday I was in my 20s and 30s and that I started Coco, and I just can't believe how fast time has gone. So I would say to young people or even older people that are curious about anything or any kind of kink to really let themselves go there and explore, ask questions. And even if you're afraid, because I was afraid when I first started Coco, but my goal was bigger than my fear. And I think magic happens when you have the courage to take a leap of faith and really dive in.
Preach. Preach.
Even when it comes to kink.
Even when it comes to kink, indeed.
And I'm so happy that you're taking on this sort of mission
Thank
to
you.
explore all of this. And I do think it's helpful to not feel so alone.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays.
Coco Peru, thank you so much for joining and
Thank
being part
you.
of this mission to spread kink curiosity and
Yes.
non-judgment.
Thank you. And get back to me with those answers.
I will. I absolutely will.
I don't mind photos and video either. I'm just saying.
You'll have early access.
All right. Thank you, sweetheart.
You're
Mwah.
welcome. Mwah.
Bye now.
Hey. Ah, Coco's delightful. I am so excited for this episode and to find out all of our questions about pup play. Let's do it.
And seriously.
Please welcome to the show with me, Mark Salinas, aka Pup Ace. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here in California.
Sunny, breezy, and cooler than Texas right now.
Also quite not as red, so.
Well, I'm so excited to dive into pet play, specifically pup play with you today.
Oh.
But before we talk, about everything pup play and who Pup Ace is, I want to find out what you know a little bit more about the broad spectrum of pet play, because I don't know much.
Got it. Well, pet play is practice in power dynamics. You're enforcing pet role play onto somebody else or onto yourself. So you can, if you see the BDSM acronym, you have it on the DNS side. So domination and submission, or simply the D, which is discipline.
Okay.
So one can hold themselves to the discipline of acting like a dog and possibly being underneath somebody or any other critter, any other pet type person. And from that, you interact with this dynamic in mind, and the consequences of it, whether they're positive or negative, befall upon you, and that's the way that you enforce it. You have dogs, you have cats, ponies, and honestly, even other types of animal role players are involved in this. And when I say that, we got furries out there, right? Mm-hmm. The furries that fursuit, or maybe just give a little bark, or just act a little furry. Sure. They sometimes like to, wear their little collar, be tugged on their leashes, or if you think about primal players that might really take on that role of some sort of scared little bunny, or some sort of hunting dog or something like that. They might have some sort of way to click into that by accessing these sorts of animal things and being oh, I like these behaviors. And some of them might come from the inspiration from our pets.
One of the things that you just pointed out to me that I was like, what? Is when you said discipline, I've always thought of discipline within BDSM as a spanking, for example, to discipline someone. But also, I'm hearing it from you as also meaning just a practice of something, being disciplined in how you behave.
Yeah, discipline is a very loaded word now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And whenever you hold discipline to yourself, like I said, the consequences, both positive and negative, all come into enforcing what you want to be a part of, what you like believe and what you want to follow.
Yeah.
So that's where that sort of pet play dynamic comes in. You want to be this pet. You want to be this domesticated animal. Mm-hmm. And that's all there is to it. And if you have things enforcing that, it's just so much better.
Miss Coco, who I talked to before this episode, she had brought up, she was kind of curious about what are the dynamics within pet play between pups and versus handlers and pups. And also maybe we should kind of define these first for people that don't know about the different roles within pet or pup play.
There are standard roles that you might think of. If you think of like a group of handlers and pets, they might be called a pack.
Okay.
A lot of people like to think in this sort of like hierarchical, like handler's always at the top, and then you've heard the words like alpha, beta, omega?
Totally.
That's kind of where the rest of the tier lies in a standard. So you have your handlers that are like, oh yeah, I'm taking care of all these little critters. They're all around here and they're mine. Mm-hmm. And then, a handler
is usually just dressed as a human. They're not.
Yeah, they don't usually act out the animal part, but they do enforce it. We got to remember that our handler type people are pet players as well, because they are enforcing the pet onto others.
Got it.
They are very vital to the whole role. So it's nice to remember they are part of us. Yes. And then you have your alphas, which would probably be like their right hand or like their first or maybe their primary or priority type pet. This alpha usually has the characteristics of being mostly dominant. So most of the time, like good 90% of the time maybe, they will be the person that will be enforcing the protocol on the others if the handler isn't around. Okay. And they usually will not be receiving any sort of feedback to make them receive discipline or domination from those coming further down on this totem pole.
Got you. So the only person really giving instructions to the alpha would be the handler.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you got your betas, which would be another tier lower, and they're usually a little more switchy. They can go back and forth as is needed by the handlers, the alphas, or the omegas. And
I think I'd feel most comfortable in that role. I like to be able to do both sides. I'm very much a switch averse. Yeah.
Well, it's not to say that none of these roles cannot switch, but if you really do like going back and forth, then the beta role might be the one that would be a fit for you.
Yeah.
The probably lowest rung in a standard pack dynamic that's totem pole would be the omegas, and they're the people that would receive most of this sort of protocol enforcement and everything. They will be the most submissive of their packs, and from that inspires whatever acts happen within this pack dynamic.
Okay.
The dogs themselves, like I said, they have their little hierarchy, so they do have that standard of the alphas will dominate, the betas will switch around, and the omegas will usually receive. But it can swap back and forth here and there. Again, these are stereotype, like majority time sorts of roles.
Makes sense. How did you get into pet play?
It's a very silly story. Friends like to think of me as just a sort of like amicable, energetic type of person. We were at the bar one night and they happened to have a leather pop-up shop.
Okay.
They were carrying all of these dog hoods. And they were like, ooh, it's so fun to try on, ha 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 ha. They were like putting them on and everything, and I was watching them because I go to the bar, I drink, I socialize, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, Mark, you act like such a dog, you should totally try on this hood. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll give it a shot. I'll see what it feels like. I slid it on, and I was like, that's comfy, a little warm, but it's fine. And then they were like, oh, Mark, you're such a good boy, look at you. And I was like, okay. Let me fit into this role just a little bit. Gave a little bark, was walking around doing my usual thing, but most people were like, oh my gosh, what a cute little puppy, so friendly, so fun, ha ha ha. And I was like, dang it, I really do fit a dog role, don't I?
Did you like it right away, or was it kind of awkward?
It has been a journey. First putting on that hood, the encouragement of the friends was fun and all, and I was like, it's a one-time thing. But then I thought about the way that the hood itself retained my anonymity, and especially in beginning my exploration, because I was very early on in my exploration of like the kink scene and all of that, it retained my like obscurity, my anonymity. My main practice is ropes, And if I'm out doing some sort of like performance or tying somebody up in a bar, somebody's bound to take a picture. How do I keep like the face hidden whenever it comes to that? I ended up wearing my hood more because people wanted to do rope at the bars, or they wanted me to perform or just like hang out and be with all the leather folk and all of that. With that wearing of the hood, people would enforce like little things like, oh, bark for me, puppy, or like, oh, you like your little belly rubs, you like your little chin scritches, you like all these sorts of things. And the behaviors came a little bit at a time. It's fun, and it's grown into something that's really become a large part of what I participated in kink.
Tell me a little bit more about what do you enjoy about it?
I think the biggest part that I enjoy about it is the intimacy and trust that has to be given with it. I don't like to partake in heavy protocol with people that I don't know.
Okay.
I'll gladly be somebody's cute little puppy and be like, oh, woo, receive some head pats, or they're like, oh, sit puppy, I'll give you a treat. Like, that's fine. But whenever you get deeper into the way that it is a power dynamic and that you're really relinquishing a whole lot of autonomy to somebody else, and you're expecting them to treat you in accordance to how you agreed before any of the scene or play starts. It's freeing, it's restricting, it's a sort of combination of so many kinks too. Don't use your hands, so like bondage in that sense, like you can't speak, you're essentially gagged. You're not allowed to move out of these spaces, which enforces that sort of domination and submission. If there's a consequence, I don't like getting hit. But if you have a little crop or something, pop, and I'm just like, okay, cool. No, I don't like being hit. Okay, so there's the S&M aspect of it, in which it all just combines into just like one nice little package without really deeply having to invest or delve into so many different types of tools or toys and gear that's out there.
Because it's mostly you put on the hood, and then most everything else can just be about mentally getting into a space where you're not talking or you're not using your hands. You get to experience a lot of these other restraint types.
And conversely, I also enjoy handling. It's really fun to enforce this sort of thing, and I think the thing that I enjoy from like the handling side of it is that I get to channel some sort of like energies that I don't generally channel normally. I don't like to be angry and enforcing and imposing, but in this way that I've agreed with somebody what the limits and boundaries of that imposition are, it allows me to very healthily express it, as well as through the negative consequences of it. If somebody wants to receive some sort of impact, if somebody wants to receive some sort of like pulling or pushing or carrying or like subduing like physically, it allows that sort of expression of it through to the other person.
One of the things I've wondered about pup play, and Coco Peru brought this up as well, where does sex fit into pup play?
That is a loaded question.
Yeah. Big, fat, loaded question for you. And
let's think about it like this. Probably a lot of people have a lot of ties to pet play with leather and like restraints and like fetish. Fetish is defined as a necessary queer sort of sexual expression. It's something that's not in the normal, not natural. Oh my gosh.
Not missionary.
Not missionary baby
sex.
Making. Yes. So anything that falls out of that sort of norm of like reproduction and like pretty basic, you just lube up and you stick it in there.
Right. I feel like lube might even be kinky for some of those people that are really, really repressed. But anyway.
Man, I have a lube fetish.
Fetish versus kink. What's the difference?
Well, yeah. So kink specifically is not such a necessity. It's not something that you want a lot of the time with your sex. It's more like something that is an interest, something that really speaks to your practices, your fantasies, like anything that you kind of see as like, ooh, that's kind of hot. Let me kind of like add that into it just to spice up sex here and there, Or even then, it might not even involve sex. Like I said, sometimes it's just about the fantasy. You might get so much like fulfillment with just like thinking about it, or maybe like from the planning over to acting it out, but there's no penetration, there's no sex that's had there.
Gotcha.
So some people like to deem it as like other sex or like alternative sex or just something that is not regular sex. In power dynamic, that you're doing that can be its own sort of form of sex. However, your dynamic, you give a command, you tell your critter, whatever pet that you might have, like, hey, on fours, and then you get up right behind them and you make sure that they know, like, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. And you lead them into it, then why not? Who doesn't like having someone on all fours?
To please and be pleased by.
Not everybody needs to have it, but
yeah,
it's fun to have it whenever you like it.
Is it usually sex between a pet and a handler, or is it pet on pet sometimes? I don't know. What's normal?
What's normal? Oh, man.
What's common is a better question.
And I described the standard sort of like totem pole like dynamic, right? But these sorts of dynamics are really webs. Like you said, there's like pups on pups, there's like handlers on pups. Honestly, there's even handlers on handlers.
Okay.
Each one of these different like titles can be taken to different people. So like somebody's handler might be somebody else's beta. The world is your oyster. So if you feel a vibe with somebody else and you want to have sex with them and you want to be their cute little omega and they're going to be your alpha, and you're like, yeah, just do it. You do it. If you just like being told, oh, you're such a good boy, come and walk on a leash with me, you're going to be my cute little pet, and you do that like every Saturday evening, so goes it.
Yeah.
Sex is not needed.
It's really not that different from dressing up at like a Renaissance festival or something. It's a way of role playing that has become, I think, very hypersexualized, especially within the gay community. But it doesn't have to be. It can just be fun.
Oh, absolutely. Not only is it hypersexualized, but it's also taken so seriously. Why are you taking the fun out of play?
Because we must do it right.
And see, also people forget that the play part does usually stand for the role play. This power dynamic is enforced. It's a role play, just like you would with maid and master, like master slave, or like daddy little girl, or any of these other dynamics. Have fun, play around.
What kind of dynamics do you personally enjoy?
I really do enjoy the handling. I'm not gonna lie. If there is some like cute little critter that they just look at me with their big old eyes and they're all hooded and they got a little tail wagging, give them little pets, give them little rubs, put them on a leash, walk them around. If they can follow a couple of basic commands, then perfect. It takes a lot of trust for me to be a pet.
So strangers don't just come up and start bossing Ace around. Okay, that's what we learned about that. Do you wear your hood when you are handling someone else, or do you leave the hood off? Also, we didn't even talk about this. I used to think this was a mask. I used to call it a mask, but the proper term for it is a pup hood, right?
Debated. Pup hood is the sort of traditional name that came about. The original sorts of mainstream hoods that were brought out were hoods. They went all the way over your face. They like covered everything. Hoods. This specific one, my hair sticks out from everywhere. I mean, this just ties on. I would call this a mask. If somebody's going to be really serious about it, I say that they can continue being serious about it and enjoy the way that they see the world. We all understand what we're talking about, whether we say hood or mask. It's a dog thing that makes you feel like a dog, or any other critter that you might have out there. Take of that as you will. Use the words that you want to. If people understand it, they understand it. Do I wear this hood whenever I'm out and about? Yes, in public spaces, especially kink spaces, I will wear the hood. I do not retain my anonymity as much as I used to, but it still feels nice. It's kind of become an identity in the public face.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm handling folks, I don't usually have the hood on, but if I have that sort of dynamic that's a little bit back and forth with a more like primal growl, I'll put it on.
So it really is unique to the dynamic that you have with someone, and also the space, which I can totally understand. I love the spotlight, but I've also noticed that it can become exhausting when my face is always there and available. I do something with how I dress, or little things that people don't even know about, in order to differentiate in my head when I'm on stage or in character versus this is time to be like totally personal Alexxx that is not expected to show up any type of way. Along those same lines, when Coco Peru and I were talking about how for her drag became two different things, and I'm kind of wondering if it's similar to pup play. And one was, it was a shift in power dynamic for her, where people that used to bully her now like praised her, and she got treated very differently in and out of drag. Another thing was it allowed her to access a part of her that she didn't feel comfortable accessing before she had this sort of character to pour it into. What are the parallels, if any, with pup play?
The freedom of expression is such a big ringer for pet players. I think that role-playing is a bit of a performance, and it lets you be out of your normal life. You, in your vanilla work life, or in your school life, or wherever your career has taken you, or whatever you're doing on your everyday, can't just bark at people. You can't just go around, even just like the proximity and approach that you have with people. If people understand that you're in a sort of nonverbal state, there's a little bit more lenience to how you interact with them. And that can spark different sorts of relationships with folks. I know some people don't like that sort of breach of consent or intimacy sometimes. There's a little bit of a gray area there, but I do think that...
What do you mean by that?
Because of the nonverbal aspect of it. Sometimes a critter might be deeply into a headspace in which they're not able to approach somebody and say, hey, can I approach you? Instead, they might come up with a little bit of sniffing, or come up to you and bark, or approach on all fours. It's an interesting place to be as a role player and as somebody interacting with an animal role player. But this expressiveness in places that are open to it, such as like dungeons or like fetish bars or stuff like that, this culture is understood that it exists, and some people might act this way. So there can be some leniency allowing these folks to more freely express themselves in these ways that they probably wouldn't approach somebody else. Think about just like cruising culture and how like abstract and hidden and subtle and subversive that is. I think that a lot of pet players end up sort of flipping that dynamic and being very direct and approaching people in ways that you wouldn't as a normal person without the role.
Right.
It's an interesting shift in how you would react if you didn't have the hood, or how you would act. It lets people just be a little more free with that way that they express themselves. That isn't to say that it's forgiven if there's a breach of consent, but I think that if there's ever a breach of consent, there should be a good adult conversation between the two folks.
Do you have like an example of one of those breaches of consent? I'm just having trouble picturing what that might look like.
Yes. Imagine somebody's up at a table, they're drinking, they're talking to a friend, and then all of a sudden you have somebody in a hood that just approaches to the table and just kind of like puts their paws on there and just barks at them. Right? It's not a normal interaction between people. That can be a little intrusive for some folks. Maybe they're having an intimate conversation. Maybe they're like afraid of loud sounds, so the barking just doesn't get to them. These can be breaches of consent. A quick little correction is more than enough, I think. If people are aware of the culture, they can be like, cool, no, thank you. Or, sorry, we're having a space here, you know. And we hope that the critter will understand, like, cool, move away.
Yeah.
And if they don't, more direct ways of saying, like, I'm sorry, I need you to leave.
I'm seeing some parallels here, too, between the freedom it gives to you to express yourself or to behave in a way that is not normal, not society's expectation, and neurodivergence. ADHD, I love being in spaces where people understand neurodivergence and know that some of the ways I or others that are on the spectrum might interact it's weird or different from societal norms. Like, we don't mean something by it. It might just be we're unaware or we don't realize it. But also a big thing that I've learned is it's on me to also explain to people, hey, by the way, I'm ADHD. It's difficult for me to do these like executive functions. So if I don't reply to your email, it's not personal. Do you mind like shooting me a reminder in a few days if you haven't heard from me? I don't know. It seems like there is some level of parallel here.
And that's the point of education, right? We should be sure to tell our new folks, like, hey, this could happen if you're in headspace. Please pay attention. Just a little bit if somebody tells you no, or please step away. Don't take it as an offense. And also for anybody else that is just curious about this whole culture of pet play and animal role players as a whole, Like, understand that somebody that has a tail on or has a hood on or something like that might interact in a little bit more brute of a way.
Yeah, they're going to act more like an animal. So if people are acting weird, it's okay. Seems to me like it would really be on the non-pet players if they're going into a pet space to know, oh, I don't have to know everything about this culture, but I do need to be prepared that things that I have no idea what the fuck is happening might happen, and it's just I'm not familiar, but don't be an asshole about it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that somebody that's new to pet play would need to know besides, like, hey, people might give you weird looks if you're in a space where they don't know about it?
One, don't go up and grab somebody. Tails being grabbed is such a common thing, and especially among like pet players. You're like, oh, look, this one also has a hood. Let me pull on their tail. No.
Why? I have an idea in my head of why you might not pull on a tail, but why don't you pull on a tail?
One, it is attached to somebody's body. Whether it is a show tail or an inserted tail.
Yeah.
You still feel it. It is still a part of you. You can also damage either the tail itself or the internals if it happens to be inserted in you.
Yeah.
So just don't, give it a nice little like, hey, I just wanted to say hi. That's all. If you have a more familiar relationship with the person, then, you work with that. But still, don't just go up and grab folks.
Imagine that.
Oh, man.
Darn it. I thought I could put on a hood and do whatever the fuck I wanted.
I think a second thing of caution is that power dynamics. You have collars and locks.
Okay.
Locks are a representation that somebody's under some sort of discipline or DNS relationship.
Okay.
So if somebody's acting kind of sheepish or just generally quiet and they have a lock on and you see it, you might want to look around and see if somebody's like keeping an eye on them, or if somebody is like next to them and talking to the side. They might be currently under some sort of protocol in which they're not allowed to communicate, or they need permission from the person that is handling them or owning them or caretaking them. That, you can talk to them. So just being like, cool, hey little guy, are you alone? Are you here with somebody else? And let's see, will they point to somebody or something? And then you're like, cool, let me go talk to this other person because this person's currently under a dynamic.
Got it. Slightly similar to you don't just walk up to a stranger and pet their dog.
No. Because
the dog might bite. But this is not, the human's probably not about to bite you.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Okay. Well, there you go. Even more reason, look around, if you see the lock, to look around for who's in charge. Makes a lot of sense.
Treats. Don't just be giving treats to everybody.
Okay.
Allergies are very big.
Yeah. And I guess if they are in pup mode and they're not supposed to be speaking, then they can't really ask what's in
correct.
that. I'm allergic to blank.
So if you do bring a treat, if a venue allows you to bring a treat, be like, hey, little guy, I have this treat. It has these allergens. Would you like one? And then they can react more appropriately that way.
Got it. So they could nod or shake their head or turn around or whatever.
Yeah.
What other things does somebody need to know in order to get into pup play?
It's a role play. You don't need gear. You don't need specific things. There are plenty of people that just go in their little tank tops and little camisoles and just their socks and little shorts, and they're just there being like, bow, wow, 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 meow, 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 meow. Making all their noises. They are just as valid an animal role player as anybody else. So let's not discount them. And don't feel pressured to have to buy gear to be out there with all the other animal role players.
Mm-hmm. And you could start a little like Mean Girls, just put on the ears. Meow, I'm a cat. The dollar store version. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a nice hood at first.
No, absolutely not. Little berets, little like clips and stuff.
There you go.
Mwah. But
before we start doing show and tell with all your cool gear, one of the things that I really wanted to talk a little bit more about today is asexuality. And you identify as asexual. Tell us more about what is asexuality.
Yeah, so asexuality is the lack of sexual attraction or the minute sort of sexual attraction that you might experience towards somebody else. A person that is asexual is more than likely not going to be seeing somebody and saying like, oh, I want to take that person to bed. it's not going to be one of their first thoughts. According to their orientation in the asexual umbrella, they may have some secondary or tertiary things that need to be met before they could even experience some sort of sexual attraction. A person like myself, I don't carry a unique name, unique orientation within the asexual spectrum. I just consider myself asexual because it is counted in one hand how many times I've really felt that sexual attraction towards somebody.
Got you.
So, I mean, I go about my day. I think people look pretty. I think that people are smart. I like talking to people. I like hanging out with people at the bar, but I'm not like, oh, I want to take this person home. And if somebody brings it up, maybe it could trigger something. It's very likely it won't.
If someone else brings up that they're attracted to you, you're saying it likely will not trigger you.
It will likely not be reciprocated.
Oh, I thought you... Okay.
It'll be like, hey, you want to go to bed? I find you very attractive and I want to take you to bed. And I'll be like, oh, that's a thought. And some people think, oh, it's because you haven't met like the right person yet, or like, oh, it's because you might be low hormone or something. It's not that. Yeah. I get erections just fine. I have experienced sexual attraction, and it isn't even to like the same type of person. Like different genders, different hair colors, different skin colors, different like cultures, like all this sort of like background and everything. There's not specific things that catch my attention. It's just if a person makes me feel it, they do.
Yeah. I know a minimal base amount, but probably more than most, about asexuality because one of my close friends is asexual. Another important thing that people really misunderstand about it is it doesn't mean that you don't have sex or that you don't enjoy sex. It's just that you're not having the same sexual attraction that other people experience. Is that accurate?
Yes, sexual expression is its own thing. I think it definitely fills its own facet in my life. I have been sexual with several different people. It's enjoyable. It's fun. I'm not repulsed by it, unlike some others, though some might be. But, I mean, I play, I handle. I do streams. I do streams online as well.
Yeah, awesome.
So, I do have to say, though, that it's interesting talking to a whole bunch of, like, people without faces.
Yeah.
So, I think that makes it a little hard for me, too, because I'm just like, oh, strangers. So sometimes there might need to be just a little bit of preparation on my side of just like, mentally being like, cool, I'm here, I'm going to be streaming, like this is going to be fun, it's fine. Sometimes I might need just like a little bit of help, maybe some enhancers, for lack of a better word, or even just like my own like daily health and like supplements that I need to take in order to just like feel good and like have that sort of vitality. And even if it comes to the point where I need to release on camera, that I make sure to have a good time and a good squirt.
And speaking of, our sponsor today, VB Health, has these two awesome products: Soaking Wet for the biological females and Load Boost for the biological males, that help with all the juices and the substances that we secrete or ooze or squirt.
As is this man, I guess I have to take the pink bottle, the green bottle. Which one?
Which one? They're really great. I take the Load Boost and it really, really helps. They are formulated based on biology, so both of them have zinc, but the quantity of things is different in each of them. Zinc for biological male, you need a higher quantity, but you also need copper, because if you have too much zinc and you're not also supplementing copper, you can have a copper deficiency, which is really bad. So this stuff takes care of that. And then there is some zinc in here, also a lot of vitamin D and vitamin E as well, to get the vulva, vaginal canal nice and wet for you. These are fantastic, and I've definitely noticed I have like 50% more volume with that stuff.
Well, I'll have to take some.
Is there anything else that you wanted to dive into before we take a look at our demo today?
I think we've overloaded folks with so much information already.
They know so much. They know so much. All right, let's take a look at some gear. Oh my gosh, you've got so much cool gear here. I can't wait to dive in.
Oh, it's so much fun to try on too, so.
You gonna put me in pup gear today?
Well, let's walk through it and let's see what you like out of all of this.
Okay, where should we start?
Well, I think the most iconic thing is the pup hoods, as you see over there.
Yes.
You can see that we have a few different materials and builds over here.
Okay.
We have that leather hood right here, and you can see that it's got snapping muzzles, so if you really need more access to the mouth, you can go ahead and open it up just like that. So some people like to say like, oh, you look like Batman. It's surprisingly comfortable, especially once the sweat gets on it. The leather kind of molds to your head.
Oh.
Yes, it's not very breathable.
Yeah.
But you also have these laces back here, so you can like let them out and you can kind of air out the back of your head, which has all of the hair and will end up being the warmest part of your body. You got your ears, and these have some aluminum wire at the corners, so you can adjust the ears as well. Makes for good posing. Look, you can bend them out, you can bend them in, you can bend them sideways. Wait. There you go.
Nice. You put them forward. Little shameful dog. Either shameful or maybe a little curious looking.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I feel like the straight one is Doberman.
Those two that are over there are Mr. S ones. Okay. This one specifically, this full one, is made out of a nylon blend that is very breathable. You can blow through it and you can feel the air and everything.
Okay, I'm not doing it right, or I don't feel air coming out the other side. Am I doing it wrong? I've been out in a pup hood with a friend one time, and it was a leather one. I was so fucking sweaty, but this does seem nicer to like be able to have.
Well, the mainstream Mr. S ones, the ones that everybody thinks of, they always see like the shiny black, especially like all the way around here, because those are made of like full neoprene. So they'll be just all neoprene, and neoprene is wetsuit material. So whenever it gets wet, it seals the pores and it keeps all the heat. It retains it all in the inside.
Oh, so then would that feel similar to leather then at that point?
Yeah, it'll be a little warmer. It'll feel a little. I feel like it kind of just neoprene, just like other rubbers that are out there, like latex and stuff like that. Once it kind of gets wet, it feels like it's a part of your skin at that point.
There's something also kind of desirable about that, I guess.
Yeah, something, and like it kind of just soaks in and fits to your face. Like in a different fashion that's like more like wet and like organic like compared to the leather that it's just like something that forms over you, but you still feel like a layer over yourself.
And did you say this is not, it's neoprene blend?
This is a nylon blend.
Oh, a nylon blend.
Yes. So it still has some of those like warm properties, and it's a little thicker, but it's so much more breathable. It's also very stretchy, so very forgiving whenever it comes to like putting it on, taking it off. Neoprene specifically sometimes cracks or breaks because you pull it too hard, especially with the snaps. This one also has snaps like that one, and some people are not careful with their neoprene, and they end up making cracks right here at the top. You can see that this is very thin, so they end up tearing their hoods like that whenever they pull off the muzzle. If they do it too roughly. But this one's a little more resilient to that sort of like pulling and stretching.
Okay, cool.
And then this one's also Mr. S build. There's plenty of other half hoods that are out there. You can see that it has two straps. This one goes at the top at the crown.
Like both?
Yes. And then this other strap will go around the neck and the back at the very top. And there you go. You have a little half muzzle, which this is the most breathable out of all of them.
Yeah, no kidding. I was thinking at first, I'm like, well, this gives you so much anonymity. What does this do? But remembering back to COVID times, people, when we were all wearing masks, people looked different. It was sometimes hard to recognize even people that I knew.
Oh, yeah. Public, and then with hairstyles, too. Like this, like a hairstyle that I have just like runs down, can cover part of my face, and people still might not recognize me.
Yeah, I really like how you incorporated your natural hair into your look. It's unique. I don't know that I've seen any pups yet that do that. So
this specifically is a custom order. This is a different leather maker by the name of Scrapyard Leather. So they take custom designs. They open commissions every like year or 6 months or something like that. This was actually a hood that took me probably the longest and was the most expensive, but is also the most meaningful to me. All of these designs I ended up sketching out like by hand on a paper. Like I did the isometric view, I did the side view, front view, in order to add all these little details that are really really meaningful to me specifically. It means a lot to me, and it took forever, and it cost a lot, so I'm just like, I love this hood. I love wearing it out, especially whenever I'm not going to be too rowdy, or whenever I'm in a handler mode too. The leather just like feels like it gives me more power, and like the rigidity of it.
I was noticing the spades at the top, and I was like, oh, haha, clever, ace of spades, ta-da.
And you know, I actually have a whole suite of the stuff all around this mask.
Wait, where?
So if you see here, I have my spade, right?
Right.
There's some stitching that's done right here in the shape of the trefoil, so the clubs.
Oh.
I have diamonds right here on the muzzle, as well as right here on the eyebrow.
Okay.
And then the heart is a little harder to incorporate without making it like really fit, but here's the bottom of a heart right here at the very top.
I love it.
And there's plenty of other like waves and symbolisms and stuff like that are just like meaningful to me, and I just like the touches, and it came all together like this.
That's really fucking cool.
Yeah. And also it's really breathable. I got all this hair and openness back here, so it really helps.
Okay, cool. What else do we have here?
I guess next most iconic thing, tails. Look at these tails. Look at that.
Look at it. Yes, get it.
These are Square Peg and Mr. S leather collaboration, and these are called show tails. So these end up being worn as a belt around, and depending on your likes and what you're wearing, like if you're wearing shorts or like a little jockstrap, maybe you don't want something so thick, right? So you can just get some sort of string, some sort of chain, make it like your own creative whatever. And I've seen some people get clasps, and then they just set it on their jockstrap or set it on their shorts.
Versatile.
Then probably the most notorious version of the tail is the one that goes inside of you. This is an insertable plug tail. More straps.
Okay.
We love decorating our dogs with harnesses or just any other sort of critter. So this is specifically a Trojan harness. I know a lot of people like to go for the bulldog harnesses, but these Trojan harnesses extend down. So if you happen to be wearing a cock ring or just have rings on any sort of like shorts or like jocks or something like that, you can clip it down there, and it adds a nice V shape right in the front of your body. Meanwhile, the bulldog harness just kind of does lines on your shoulders, and
it would be
front.
like minus everything below my hands, right?
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of things to clip onto it, though, we do have the jock strap right here. This is actually a neoprene jock strap that I got from Mr. Bear. These have rings right here that you can clip things onto, and they have adjusting clasps right here, so you can make it tighter or looser. If you are the type of person that likes a little more coverage, there are singlets that are made that have cute little pup stuff on them.
Cool.
So this one has a nice little pup face.
It also matches you very well.
I was gonna say, look,
is
we're
this
twinsies. I do wear the singlet out a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I am a person that likes a little bit more full coverage. The singlet is a nice alternative that stretches with you, moves with you whenever you're out on the ground or just like generally moving around a lot. Movement. A lot of critters like to be on all fours.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you protect knuckles and that you protect their knees.
Yeah, I know that from go-go dancing.
We got some knee pads. These are some simple volleyball knee pads.
Oh.
They're nice and cushioned. And then for the hands, some nice MMA gloves. These are old as hell.
The gloves that you're currently wearing, do these have padding?
No, these are actually unlined leather gloves.
Okay.
But they feel so soft. Look.
Oh my goodness, yes.
They're silky.
It's like you're touching your skin, but someone else's skin. Some other critters, used to be critters' skin.
Well, talking about sensations though, so these are mitts.
Okay, these are pretty cool.
They are really cool. So if you're a fan of bondage and you just really want to have like paws on your hands, then you go ahead and you just slide one of these on. Let me see, this one has this.
Okay.
Go ahead, just put your hand in there.
I have big hands.
You do have big hands. Look
Okay.
just strap it together and whatever. And these have little silicone pads down here.
Is it enough that it can
grips pretty darn
on
well.
the floor?
Yes.
Really cool.
If for whatever reason you don't want to be pressing down on your hands like this, they're also very padded right here at the very top.
Oh, so you can still, okay. Nice.
Yeah, so you can do that and show off your little paws in the back.
These are cool. Okay, I definitely want to wear these later.
You know, speaking of other beans, look at these little paw pads on the socks.
These are super
little
cute.
Paw socks. Oh yeah, they're amazing. I love them. And then you can just like show off your little beans like that. And then we have different types of collars, right? So we were to show one of these types of collars. This collar right here is a chain collar. Okay. This one's nice and thin and light. It works for training purposes. Nothing too heavy, and if you just want to have fun with your person and make sure that you're not overloading them or they just don't like heavy things around their neck, a nice simple chain collar like that will do. Got that one at the pet store.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I just clipped off the big rings that are at the end because it's one of those choker ones.
Oh, yeah.
But something like that might not be the best necessarily for walking somebody. Mr. S also has these sorts of neoprene collars. It's a lot softer. They're actually very durable though. So if you see that they have a lot of structure right here around the ring, it's because you can pull on that. Go ahead and pull on that. You can pull on that pretty heavy and it's not breaking the collar.
Got it. This seems like it's more for show or indicating that you're under someone else's command.
You're correct. There is something special about a specific collar like this, and it has a lock, meaning that yes, you are under somebody else's care at the moment.
Okay.
So this is definitely a lot more for show. You can still pull on it. Some people really like the feeling of the chain being pulled. Dog toys. We love dog toys. So some dogs really like squeaks. Some dogs really don't like squeaks. Obviously making no noise.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, both of them very squishy, very playable, both of them very chewable. Yes.
This is an aggressive squeak.
It is an aggressive squeak.
My God.
$1 at Daiso.
This is an actual dog toy. It was intended for dogs.
Specifically for smaller dogs.
Okay.
Some toys for smaller dogs are soft enough for us to be able to use as humans and not hurt our teeth or jaws or stuff like that.
Okay.
So these small dog toys sometimes feel them out, and if they have a sort of softness to it, then they're probably okay. Medium and larger dog toy sizes you don't want to get.
Right.
You might accidentally chip a tooth, you might hurt your jaw, you can lock up a jaw.
Not fun.
No, and then sometimes they're also just made of materials that are just not suitable for human mouth blah. Look, we also have another bone though.
Okay.
This one's a nice bone. This one is made of human safe silicone. You can chew on this as much as you want. This specifically works nicely as well as a gag. You just put it over the mouth as a big gag, and then you tighten it. Exactly. Specifically if you don't want your dog to talk, get one of these. And last but not least, a dog bowl.
Yes.
I mean, we got to make sure that our dogs and our cats and our horses and everything stay hydrated.
Okay.
Or that they don't leave the house hungry. You want to make sure that this stays raised. A human is not made to take food or drink down here. This is a bad thing to do. Don't let your person just drink and eat food like this because your esophagus is all bent.
Okay.
So if you're going to feed somebody from a bowl, make sure that it's elevated at a height that their esophagus like nice and straight. So like here at this level, this is perfectly fine. You can drink and you know you're good to go.
We're getting a little doggy ASMR. So perfect. Amazing. I really want to try on some stuff. Will you dress me up?
Oh, absolutely. Let's start by taking off that shirt.
Okay. All right.
Let's start off with this harness right here.
Okay.
Easy to put on. Yeah, that's right. You know how to put on a harness.
I have worn a harness before a couple times.
Of course, all the queers absolutely love wearing harnesses.
Bye-bye shorts.
Oh, very immediate. We love the eagerness to try on gear. It was a cute little jock strap for you to put those clips right there at the bottom of the Trojan on.
Get up and give people a view of the goods. So we put it on.
And of course, if you're handling somebody, go ahead and give them little palm massages. If something was on really tightly, make sure that you get the blood flowing by pulling all the blood. But we can go ahead and get your words back. Such a precious boy. I know, slowly getting those words back is hard.
Yes. Am I allowed to talk now?
I'm allowed to talk now.
All right. That feels so good.
As it should. It's nice and relaxing. Would you like to lay back?
Let's do it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Thank you for that. You were like, your fingers might feel foreign. I was like, well, nah. And then they came out and I went, oh, you know what you're talking about. They do feel foreign. Also, it was really fun and pretty easy, because I trust you, to be able to pop into that like no speaking, just signaling through body language if I was liking something, or through little like barks or whines. I don't know, there's something very primal about it that feels really good. Yeah, I've never done puppy play to this extent. The most I ever did was went out to the club in a pup hood with a friend, and then I fucked my friend in the corner. So, dogs breeding where they're not supposed to, that's sort of dog-like. But other than that, there was none of the full like pup headspace, and no one to help me get into that. So, thank you.
That's what the whole power dynamic is about. There's somebody that's guiding, there's somebody that's enforcing. And that's also kind of what makes it different from the bar scene, right? Mm-hmm. Some people do really enjoy just dressing up and being a dog. Mm-hmm. And some of those people might just consider themselves pups.
I noticed when you started rubbing my face and telling me I was a good boy, I instantly like started feeling this more excited to please. It was erotic, but it wasn't like humping kind of erotic. It was more like an intimate connection that I felt we shared in that moment. I mean, you've trained other pups, but what was this experience like for you?
It's different because I don't have like a big old open space. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm used to. I think there's something nice about somebody that is a little bit more familiar. You said you'd had at least some sort of knowledge by getting to talk to somebody mm-hmm. took you at a bar, you got to see some other dogs, so some of these things came a little more innately, for lack of a better word.
One last thing that we didn't really touch on yet was just the sort of sense of community that pups create and foster. I would love to hear more about that from you.
So I brought it up a little bit earlier. I think one of the biggest things that dogs or cats or any other sort of pet player like to do, or even just critters in general, is just be their animal selves, but like with less restrictions and more animals around them. These sorts of events are called moshes, and you set aside a space in which you make a soft flooring of some sort. You set boundaries in which people that are not going to be on all fours are going to have to stay out of. Okay. And then all of the critters can go in there. Oh. Yeah, so they can be on all fours, they can jump around, they can sniff each other, they can like just let go. Yeah. And have a good time within that space.
This is what Coco Peru was talking about at a hotel or something that she was at. I would not do this as just an ordinary human. Like, you throw a ball and I go get it for you? Fuck no. But like, for some reason, when I was a pup, it was actually fun as a dog. Ace, you might have turned me into a pup player. Yes. I'm so thankful that you came here today, that you've given me this incredible experience. If our voyeurs have questions for you or want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Bound Man Love is the handle that I use. Okay. So I do have a link tree, so linktree/Bound Man Love, BOUND MANLOVE.
We'll put that in the notes so you don't have to spell. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that people also understand that I don't particularly care to do idle chatter online, so a simple hey may not get a response from me. Mm-hmm. But if people approach me with like a want for understanding or like a more sincere conversation, asking like, hey, what is the pet play experience like for you? What resources do you have? I also do rope. What rope do you use? Like, what rope events do you go to? That sort of stuff is a good way to start a conversation with me. Okay. So.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Oh my God. You give such good hugs.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. All right, everyone. Stay curious. We'll see you on the next episode. So they want to get the tail pop. There's always the nervous moment of, did I shit on it? If you enjoyed today's episode like I did, don't gatekeep, share it with a friend, and leave a rating to support our mission of ending sex shame. You can find the full explicit demo on my Hey Alexxx Gay site. Then show today's guests some love with a follow. Their link is down in the description. And if you're curious about today's sponsored product, you can find all that info in the description as well. Thanks for coming. Stay curious, sexy.